Hi everybody, welcome to Tathaastu. Today we're going to be talking about Siva's directorial, which is Kanguva, starring Surya, Bobby Deol, and a whole host of characters. Um, I'm very disappointed by the fact that my expectation of this movie stems from the fact that Surya has delivered some excellent movies in the last 4 to 5 years. Um, and Siva is possibly coming back after a terrible debacle in Anata. So there was a lot of hype in and around the expectation of why this movie is going to be great. And the fact that the trailers and a large chunk of the visuals sort of tease you into a periodical, trying to sort of match the scale of a large chunk of older period movies, including Bahubali and the others. This was something that would have probably taken us a step forward in terms of how we're good at visual and emotional storytelling. But the problem comes with the emotions itself. And I think that is where Kanguva fails terribly. There is absolutely no emotional connect in terms of the characters. You don't understand the motivations behind these characters. And most importantly, you don't understand, in you as the audience, don't feel what these characters are feeling, because the movie just doesn't allow the characters to feel anything. The feelings are either extremely loud, which could be a possibility, maybe because of animalistic tendencies of these characters, but there is absolutely no subtlety in the way these emotions are portrayed. No one has scope to understand why Natty dies. No one has scope to understand why the promise is so valuable. No one has scope to understand why Surya does the things he does when he's Kanguva. And it is absolutely disheartening to see a movie director take an audience for granted, because that means that the fever dream that comes with every story inception, the fact that a director dreamed up such a sequence of events and decided that it needed to go onto screen, meant that there is a responsibility for this director and for the vision around the team to make sure audiences understand that story, right? Here, there is very little effort put into making that the possible catch, right? You as an audience honestly can forgive slightly poor visuals, can forgive slightly poor VFX. If the story could just pull you in, if the emotional connect between characters could pull you in. And that is the problem with this movie, because the expense and the time that was possibly spent on this movie was probably spent on things that were peripheral to these movies, including the visuals, including so many other things, including music, all of those things. But the worst part was that the characters become peripheral to the movie. And you can literally feel the emotion that I'm trying to talk to you about, because as an audience member, you are expecting so much out of a big movie when you want to spend the money that you want to go and watch these movies for. You spend this money not because you are there to just be entertained. Yes, that is definitely a scope, right? But you are there to find characters and stories that you possibly don't have within yourselves or within the kind of reading that you do. When stories become meaningless because the characters have no meaning to them, that would lead to stories devolving into a series of disjointed, fragmented, and frankly very poorly edited cinema. In this movie, Surya and the characters in the period are just loud. They have very little subtlety. They have very few silent moments other than a song sequence between a child and Surya. But the problem is this: that song is so goddamn loud that even if the song is supposed to be melodious, it's so loud that you don't allow any of us to feel what Surya is feeling in that moment. And it's better to say less or nothing with regard to the first 30 minutes, but I have to, honestly. It feels like complete boomer energy. It feels so poorly like crafted, because the first 30 minutes feel like stereotypes of Goan, stereotypes of bounty hunters, stereotypes of Gen Z characters. I mean, the memification of the first 30 minutes is genuinely terrible to watch. And when you get past that 30 minutes, assuming that the movie is all going to be about Kanguva, the character, the strife around the islands that they talk about, the kind of like invading horde of Romans who come through, the fact that there is so much scope for inter island conflict to discuss how each island contributes to this world, none of that gets explored beyond a voiceover in this movie. And it's palpably horrible for us as the audience to sit through a movie which is only 2.5 hours, but it feels so long, it feels so unnecessary. And that's the big problem. You are going in and as an audience to feel important, to feel like someone wants to communicate something to you. The attempt to communicate by this director in this movie, and I'm not going to comment on the fact that his previous movies have not communicated so well to me, but for him to communicate to you through an actor who has given so much of his body, soul into this movie, it's a disservice. Please watch at your own discretion, but honestly, I wouldn't recommend this movie from my personal experience. Other than that, hope you enjoy a few of our reviews, few of our thoughts with regard to movies. I hope we catch up with you in another movie review and another thoughts about movies. Thank you very much for your time. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Salute.